Go love your own enemies. Don't be loving mine. My enemies are the theocratic fascists. I don't love them. I want to destroy them.
Child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
First, a letter, or a note, I should say, from Elizabeth Warren. Donald Trump is now the leader of the Republican Party. It's real. He is one step away from the White House. Here's what else is real. Trump has built his campaign on racism, sexism, and xenophobia. There's more enthusiasm for him among leaders of the KKK than leaders of the political party he now controls. He incites supporters to violence, praises Putin, and according to a columnist who recently interviewed him, is cool with being called an authoritarian, and doesn't mind associations with history's worst dictators. He attacks veterans like John McCain who were captured and puts our service members at risk by cheerleading illegal torture. In a world with ISIS militants and leaders like North Korean strongman Kim Jong-un controlling nuclear tests, he surrounds himself with a foreign policy team that has been called a collection of charlatans, and puts out contradictory and nonsensical national security ideas one expert recently called incoherent and truly bizarre. What happens next will test the character for us all, Republican, Democrat, and Independent. It will determine whether we move forward as one nation or splinter at the hands of one man's narcissism and divisiveness. I know which side I'm on, and I'm going to fight my heart out to make sure Donald Trump's toxic stew of hatred and insecurity never reaches the White House. I also put up a post on my Facebook page the other day that I would like to read. Backlash. What happens when a country teeming with racists and bigots and the great unevolved, against all odds, elects a black president? For 8 years, these racists and bigots have stewed in their outrage and resentment. Now, here we have the swaggering king of their kind, arrogant, crude, narrow-minded, and rude, never having any need to develop any true character to speak of, and how the flocks of lesser bigots converge to gather around him and praise his name. Now they can thump their chests and stand together, coming out of the closet at long last, happy to declare themselves proud to be among the great horde of haters. Let's make America great again, they crow, when what they really mean is, let's make America white again. Let's make Christianity the national religion, such a loving, tolerant belief system, and get rid of all these brown people with their foreign accents, parentheses, English is the national language, damn it, who have no right to be here in our country. Let's put in their place all these uppity women who dare to think of themselves equal to a man or as valuable as a fertilized egg. Let's punish and ostracize and make illegal all these people are holy book calls abominations. Yes, let us have our day again, back when men were men and the only thing women had to worry about was wiping Billy's snot off his lips and making sure Din Din was ready for her man when he got home. And lastly, an open letter to my friends who support Donald Trump by Jeremy Nix. This was put up on March 2nd, 2016. I'm cool with you removing me from your friends list if you don't like this post. You can even disown me if you like. But Donald Trump isn't a good person, nor would he be a good president. I can understand a difference in politics. I can understand if you don't like a government run by Democrats. I can understand if you don't like certain ideologies like socialism. But I can't understand why you would support someone as hateful, sexist, racist, and ignorant as Donald Trump. How do you support him so blindly? Ask yourself, are you a racist, sexist, hateful, and ignorant person as well? I hear his supporters saying they like him because he tells the truth, because he's so rich he can say whatever he feels like with no apologies. Just because Trump is saying these things doesn't suddenly make them right. It's not okay to discriminate against an entire religion based on a small percentage of its followers who have become terrorists by twisting the words of the religion to fit their crazy ideals. Side note, I disagree with the writer in this particular part of his letter because the terrorists do not twist the words in the Quran. They actually follow the words in the Quran. And in fact, it's the people who don't run around killing innocent people that are not following the commands, the words in the Quran. So I disagree with him on that paragraph. That was my side note. Continuing. White people also have bad apples. So does every race of people. We're all human. Some humans are really bad people. Some are really good. And it doesn't matter what color they are, it makes no difference whatsoever. Trump says he is just telling the truth. But whose truth? There are lazy people in every race, and there are dangerous, violent people in every race and every religion. Kicking all Muslims out of the country is not the answer. No, educating them. I'm sorry, that's another side note. Nor is it the acceptable behavior of a person in an extremely powerful position, like the President of the United States. Yeah, because, newsflash, Donald Trump, another side note, you're also leading all the Mexican Americans, I don't know if that's the right term, but all the people in America, no matter what their original origins are, they're all Americans, and it's your job to lead them. And that includes women, Donald Trump. Half the people you would be leading are women. You know, those people that really, unless they're gorgeous, have no value whatsoever and certainly don't have any minds. They're just put on the earth to be decorations for you or baby makers. I know, big side note. Okay, back to his letter. The Japanese internment camps were wrong. Segregation was wrong. Slavery was wrong. We fought wars amongst ourselves to rise above racism and hatred. In World War II, more than 60 million people died worldwide. Why? Because of twisted people who were whipping up the population into a frenzy and making ridiculous statements, killing innocent people simply because of their race or religion. The United States lost more than 400,000 lives fighting in that war against the same ideas that Trump is pushing. The idea that certain religions are more dangerous than others, well, I kind of think that's true, but we're talking about religion, a cult. We're not talking about the people that are being led astray. And I don't think driving them from their homeland is the answer. And I don't think killing them is the answer. I think trying to increase and promote awareness of what their book says is a good start. Anyway, I know I digressed again. Okay, I'll recap. The idea that certain religions are more dangerous than others, and the idea that people should be judged based on the color of their skin rather than the content of their character. It's probably hard for Trump to wrap his mind around that word. I don't think he actually has any character, but I digressed again. We're still healing from the damage inflicted by the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Iraq, and the War on Terror. And it isn't just ISIS or Al-Qaeda. It's our own people in this country killing their fellow countrymen and women over differences of opinion, like whether or not you believe abortion is okay, or what kind of political ideology you support, or what gender you think you are and what bathroom you want to go into, which I'm sorry, I can't believe that people in my country are squabbling over bathroom privileges. Anyway, it's been a while since I've posted. I have a whole lot of things that are pissing me off right now, and that's one of them big time. But back to the letter. And then there are just the plainly insane people who finally snap and go on shooting rampages for no discernible reason at all. They just went mad. The kind of leadership Trump is displaying is irresponsible and dangerous. His virulent ideas are seeping into the brains of his supporters. Supporters who think it's okay to say things like, "Light the motherfucker on fire," while a protester is being dragged out of one of his rallies. Maybe the protester was wrong to be where he was at the time, but no matter what he did, there was no reason to set him on fire. In fact, there is never a reason to set anyone on fire, unless it's because they are dead and they wish to be cremated. Oops, I went too far. Excuse me. Trump's supporters are angry, and anger is infectious. I can tell you, as a non-supporter of Trump, I am just as angry. We need the kind of leader that seeks to bring us together, not tear us apart. Why do we have to fight against helping each other, against common sense, against a united nation? The American dream is a nightmare, and we are feeding it, making it worse every day. Trump is a bully, a loudmouth, ignorant, sexist, racist, disgusting example of how horrible humans can potentially be. He's the crazy person at your dinner table who won't stop running his mouth. The only reason he is allowed to carry on with his ugly, hateful rhetoric is because you have too much respect for Grandma to get into a fist fight in her home. He's the guy you have to endure until he leaves, all the while hating every minute that you have to occupy the same space. Lucky for us, this isn't Grandma's house. So feel free to punch him in the mouth in the form of getting out and making your vote count. They always say it's so important to make your voice heard, to get out and vote, but I'm not sure if it's ever been more important than now. Differences of political ideals are one thing. I can agree to disagree on many matters across a wide array of topics, but racism isn't one of them. Neither is hate. Neither is the belittling of women or the judgment of others based on their appearance or their disability or their sexual preference. By supporting Trump, do you think things will go back to the way they were? Back when gay people had to hide in fear, back when people of any other color than white had to worry about getting lynched, back when it was okay to openly hate. Do you think empowered women will suddenly quit their jobs and go back to the kitchen? Because electing Trump won't make any of that come true. We're past that as a nation, or at least I thought we were. If you're not a racist, bigoted, misogynistic jerk, then voting for Trump simply because you don't like Democrats is wrong. If you are one of his supporters and you're just a racist and you don't care who knows it, then vote for him. But know that the good people of America will not stand for it, and he will never win a fair election. And please consider pursuing an education and work on your empathy toward your fellow human beings. Whatever led you to believe that racism is okay can be unlearned if you open your mind. I'm sorry that you were raised to believe that you deserve better treatment than the rest of the people on the planet that have different views than yours, worship different gods than you, and have skin that isn't white. To all the people of all the races and religions that Donald Trump stands against, to all the women that don't meet his standards of beauty, to all the good Muslims and Christians, Mormons and Catholics and Jewish, Italians, Irish, and Asians, to the African Americans and Native Americans, to anyone who has ever been persecuted, belittled, made to feel inferior, or bullied based on ignorance like the kind that Trump is spewing, please, I implore you to get out and vote against him. Don't let the progress of this great nation be halted. We've come too far. In this country, we fight and die for freedom, for truth and justice. We fight for what's right, and what Trump is doing and saying isn't right. Some have attributed the following statement to Abraham Lincoln. I see in the near future a crisis approaching that unnerves me and causes me to tremble for safety of my country. Corporations have been enthroned. An era of corruption in high places will follow, and the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of the people until the wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic destroyed. And he couldn't be more right. Trump is the 1%. He is working on your prejudices, and he will destroy the republic if he is elected. Make no doubt about it. If you don't believe me, just look at the level of crazy coming out of his own mouth. Quote, I am calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what is going on. Donald Trump. That's religious discrimination. An extremely credible source has called my office and told me that Barack Obama's birth certificate is a fraud. Donald Trump. That's an outright lie. Arianna Huffington is unattractive, both inside and out. I fully understand why her former husband left her for a man. He made a good decision. Donald Trump. This is sexism and just plain rude. You know, it really doesn't matter what the media writes as long as you've got a young and beautiful piece of ass. Donald Trump. This is misogyny at its finest. I will build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me, and I'll build them very inexpensively. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will make Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words. Donald Trump. The words of an arrogant hate-monger. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending the best. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with them. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. Donald Trump. Racist. Our great African-American president hasn't exactly had a positive impact on the thugs who are so happily and openly destroying Baltimore. Donald Trump. Racist. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, I'd look at her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. Donald Trump. the words of an ass. The beauty of me is that I'm very rich. Donald Trump. So vain. It's freezing and snowing in New York. We need global warming. Donald Trump. Ignorant. My fingers are long and beautiful, as it has been well documented, are various other parts of my body. Donald Trump. Gross. I think the only difference between me and the other candidates is that I'm more honest and my women are beautiful. Donald Trump. Sexist. As if women are possessions rather than people, and also a lie about how honest he is. How can you support this man? I'm aware of the fact that Snopes.com claims the Lincoln capitalism prophecy quote is false. It's a quote that has been going around for more than 100 years. The quote has also been attributed to a letter that Lincoln supposedly wrote to Colonel William F. Elkins in 1864. Scholars have cited the Lincoln Encyclopedia, the spoken and written words of A. Lincoln, arranged for ready reference by Archer H. Shaw. Snopes still claims the letter referred to in this encyclopedia is a fraud forged by Emanuel Hertz in his book Abraham Lincoln, A New Portrait. So in the interest of full disclosure, these may or may not have been Lincoln's words. Whether they were written by Hertz or Lincoln, they were still written and they still pertain to the point I was trying to make. Income equality is a serious issue in this country, and Donald Trump is working on the prejudices of the people. I just wanted to end this by saying I'm very disgusted right now with my country, with what's going on in my country, and beyond distressed about it. I feel like Christianity is on steroids in this country. Everything that I see happening has Christianity and patriarchal religion behind it. Let's see. A fetus is more important than a woman and her right to have control over her own body. Interesting. I just read an article that said that, I don't remember what state it is exactly, but one of the states in this country, it was about, they're trying to make it so that if the single mother doesn't know or cannot find the father, that child doesn't get to have the father's name. Or no, I don't think the child gets to have a birth certificate. That's it. Interesting. So the child is more important than the woman until the child is born. And then we're going to completely ignore that child because we're so interested in punishing the woman. Everything that patriarchal religion's about is punishing women. They want to punish women who get pregnant by forcing them to have a baby against their will. And they want to punish them after they have that baby by not letting them have their child, a birth certificate for their child. Funny thing though, the baby is the one that's also being punished, but we're going to completely ignore the baby because the baby's welfare no longer matters once it's born. All that matters is attacking women in every way, shape, and form that we can. And I see that happening in every imaginable way in this country now. Attacking women and attacking transgendered people and using women as an excuse for, we're trying to protect our women folk. I actually read something where they actually called women folk. Really? Are we in the 1800s now? But yeah, let's use, we're trying to protect our women and children as an excuse to be a bigot and hurt a whole group of people. So it's just, every time I turn around, we're attacking gays. We're attacking transgendered people. Who the fuck cares? It's a bathroom. Newsflash, almost I would say, in fact, in my entire 53 years on this planet, I have yet to go into a bathroom that did not have walls, did not have individual stalls. Arnold Schwarzenegger could have been in the bathroom next to mine, or in the stall next to mine, and I would not know. Women don't strut around in the women's room buck naked either, so men can go in there and ogle them and pretend to be transgendered. Most women are fully clothed in the women's bathroom, and You don't really see anything. You just hear bathroom noises in the bathroom. I'm sure it's very much the same in men's rooms. But funny thing, we're obsessed with the protection of women and children. I've heard nothing about protecting men. Oh, you want to protect those men from all those women pretending to be men going into the men's room. Haven't heard a word about that. It's all about protecting the women and the children. But meanwhile, we're trying to rob women of their rights in every imaginable way and punish them if they have sex before or outside of marriage. In other words, if they do anything that disagrees with the Bible, it all comes back to the Bible and Christianity and this fucking cult that is trying to run this country. And it's doing a very good job of running this country into the ground. So yeah, I've been seething for a while. I haven't posted any videos because I've been very obsessed with trying to get my book edited professionally and published finally. But I've been seething, and Donald Trump to me is like a infectious sore on the asshole of this country. He's disgusting, and it blows my mind how many people in this country are in support of that, which makes me think that America is really a lot worse than I thought, and the intelligence of America is a lot, the IQ rather, is a lot lower than I thought. The thought has crossed my mind, is this country even worth saving if it's filled with so much prehistoric, unevolved people? Is it even worth saving? You know, I look at the Middle East and go, oh my God, I don't want to see that culture come here because look how they treat women. Well, we're doing it just fine in this country already. We're treating gays horribly. We're treating transgendered people horribly. We're treating women horribly. Why are we criticizing the Middle East? We do it just as much here. So, I'm ending this with a rant. I am absolutely floored that so many people would vote for Donald Trump. The man is a sleaze. The woman that he's married to, I'm sorry, there's no way that anybody will convince me. She didn't marry him for his money. And that is not the kind of person that should be the first lady of this country, any more than this piece of slime, Donald Trump, deserves. He has no class. And here's a big news flash for people who are thinking he's wonderful. The rest of the world doesn't take him seriously. The rest of the world is laughing at him. He's a jackass and a buffoon. And everybody's laughing in America at the fucktards in this country that take this piece of shit seriously. And it just blows my mind. He's going to be running this country? Please. It'll be the fast track to the end of this country. Not a big Hillary fan. Really not. In fact, if I could say, okay, America, boycott the election, nobody vote because honestly nobody's worthy. But that can't happen. That won't happen. So of the two of them, which is, it's like once again we're left with picking the lesser of two evils. That's what it's been that way for several elections now. Well, gee, I don't like either one, so I guess I'm picking the lesser of two evils. And even Bernie, I don't think any of them have what it takes. But of the three, the worst is this piece of shit. He does not deserve the White House. He laughs at the presidency. This is all about his ego and showing what he can do with all his money. And he's disgusting. He mocks what this country stands for. And he mocks the office of the president. He mocks it. He makes it a joke. And I'm sorry, anybody who thinks that belongs in the White House is not a patriot. And they don't care. They don't give a rat's ass about America. All they care about is having somebody to make it okay for them to be bigoted, racist, sexist pieces of shit. Which is what Christianity tends to make out of a lot of people. Okay, so that's the end of my rant. I'm not looking forward to the outcome of this election. No matter who wins. But I just live in dread of what would happen if this thing wins. And that's what I refer. That's when I say Donald Trump. It's like, okay, that's when you take the gun and you shoot the horse in the head because you want to put it out of its misery. And that's what this country will need if Donald Trump wins. It needs a bullet to its head. Put it out of its misery.